Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the first interview on the Sridhan platform. There's a very specific reason that I've chosen the person that we have today. Like the most important part of my career, my days at EY, I would like to start this episode with my first boss, the lady that I worked with when I first joined EY, tried to become a chartered accountant, and that's Purnima Madhav Sumant on your screen. Purnima is a chartered accountant who's worked with Ernst& Young Bangalore for 10 years. She's gone on to become an angel investor with interests in a wide variety of companies and is currently also serving on the board of a charity called Organic Quotient, which helps take care of nutrition of children suffering from cancer. Thank you so much, Purnima, for agreeing to do this. I'm really honored, and I don't think I could have chosen a better person to start off with.
Thank you so much, Aarti. The honor is all mine and the pleasure is all mine. And I'm truly touched that you chose me to start this interview stream with. And I hope I can contribute in a meaningful way to taking this conversation forward.
Thank you so much. So Purnima, maybe you could tell the people who are watching this interview a little bit more about your journey, how you became a chartered accountant, and where your life took you from there.
So being a chartered accountant was never something that was on the cards. We came from a family of normal government servants. My father was with the central government in the Ministry of Textiles, and we were good little Maharashtrian girls who basically were going to get a degree, maybe an engineering degree, maybe any other degree, and just become employable. That was all that was expected. The actual concept of having a job and a career was never really discussed, was never really even envisaged. Having said that, I, by chance, happened to take the CA Foundation exam, which allowed you to do CA along with your graduation in those days. And I happened to pass the first foundation. And then began my journey in finance. It turned out that I was pretty good at both accounts and finance, and lo and behold, I was a chartered accountant at what I would now think the tender age of 22. When I became a chartered accountant, my first job was with a company called Sharp and Tannen, and I was an auditor with them. During that time when I got my first job was a time when there was a downturn in the market. I went on from there to Ernst& Young. Just by chance, because somebody recommended that they were looking for candidates and to apply. I got that job and I moved to Bangalore. There were two reasons why I took that job. One is the salary was exactly double what I was currently earning. And second, it took me away from my hometown of Pune in Bangalore. When I joined Ernst & Young, I was the only female chartered accountant in this massive office. They had never, ever had a female chartered accountant before. My first day, I was sent to a manufacturing unit where the CFO called up the partner and said, "Are you sure she's a chartered accountant? Did you check her certificate?" Everybody was just surprised. I didn't know why they were so stunned, because from where I came in Pune, a lot of women were chartered accountants. But here in Bangalore, in this majestic office, there was no female chartered accountant. This actually continued to be the situation for a good amount of time in my initial years of Ernst & Young, almost for, I think, 4 years. What that allowed me to do was it allowed me to basically make mistakes because nobody expected me to do any better, but also have a very sharp trajectory of learning, and learning I did, and hence have a good base to take off my career. In Ernst & Young, in the 10 years that I was in Ernst & Young, it gave me plenty of opportunities and plenty of knocks. And along the way, I worked on some of the biggest names in the IT and the back office and outsourcing industries, whether it was Compaq or Digital or Hewlett & Packard. During this entire time, what also grew exponentially was my earning capacity, because I was suddenly earning for international standards. However, nobody in my family had prepared me to earn this kind of money, because we came from a normal middle-class family where the girls worked in banks or they worked in post offices, or they worked as a teacher. You basically got a government salary and you got government perks. Hence, this concept of earning these six-figure salaries was completely alien to my father and thereby to my bigger family. They did not know what to do with it. There was also the hesitancy of, it is ultimately her money, and should we even give her advice? And will that be viewed correctly? And ultimately, there was this thing that you can just save it and you get married, and then your husband and you can decide what you want to do with it. That was on a good day that my father told me that. But most importantly, I think that entire period of 10 years, I think financially was a missed opportunity.
Why do you say that it was a missed opportunity if you did save that money? Because I've known you and I know that you've never been reckless with money. So, I think you would have saved that money, right?
Yes, I did save that money, but I know now that just the money sitting in the bank does not really do anything for you. So you have to understand a little bit of money. You have to take risks at the right time. You have to take risks when you don't have responsibilities and obligations. And that is how that money actually grows and then empowers you when you don't want to continue around, down those paths and want to take different career decisions. After my 10 years in Ernst & Young, I basically decided that I wanted to get married. It's just so happened that within a year of my marriage, my husband had to change locations and I moved to the Middle East. Subsequently, I decided first to have a family, and it resulted in a long hiatus from work. After that, I did get back into networking with all my old colleagues, and thereby I got a lot of opportunities to interact with budding entrepreneurs. I had the ability in my home situation to manage the finances of my family and thereby allocate certain finances towards startup investing and angel investing, which I did with a fair degree of success, and then also to invest in certain charitable causes. As of now, I think that it still is a missed opportunities in my 20s. If somebody had taught me how to use the money that I was earning, how to use it prudently, I think I would have been in a much better financial situation, just for myself, for my self-esteem. And who knows, maybe I could have just enjoyed some other thing or supported some other causes, which now will take time for me to build up that capital again to do. So that is why I would say it.
So, Purnima, I think we've heard a little bit about, your trajectory, how your career has gone. I've seen you at the peak of your career, okay? And believe me, a lot of women have really looked up to you, and a lot of us probably are where today because of the kind of ethic you've embodied. So I have a very important question for you. Largely, especially in the Indian communities, not just in India, but elsewhere in the world also, very few women are actually encouraged to step up and take charge of the family finances. So how does that play out in your household? How do you and your husband, have you all reached an equilibrium when it comes to money? Is there an understanding, and how did you get there?
So let me start with saying that that I hope the peak of my career is ahead of me and not behind me. So I definitely do hope that. Having said that, I'm lucky enough that that I have a husband who is very supportive and understands that both our strengths lie in different areas. His strengths lie in earning income. He's an undergraduate of economics from U Chicago and an Ivy League educated MBA. However, his strengths lie in being the income generator in the family. And very quickly in our marriage, we realized that my strength lies in being the wealth creator in every sense of the word. A big part of that is managing the family finances. I just instinctively know how to save and how to make it work for us in ways that are outside the bounds of average investing. It could be that because my whole hiatus from work actually gave me time to sit back and read up and do extensive reading on topics that were of interest to me with the finance background. I was able to understand and implement them in my own finances. And that, I think, actually started my journey. Having said that, it has been a trial and error. I have made mistakes, I have made wrong investments, and luckily I have been able to recoup it. As recently as the start of COVID, some of the investments that we made obviously were not the best ones, and we were able to recoup it and rejig our entire portfolio and are looking forward now.
So, would you say that, your education and your background had something to do with your husband trusting you on your decisions? Or was it even that, was that also a trial and error process? How did you get to, him? Because in a lot of families, even though the women are educated, the women themselves are scared to handle their own money. You and I know that at some stage of our career, our life, even we were unsure of how to handle our money, like you just said, right? So how
Yes.
did you all build that rapport where he said, listen, you handle this, I trust you? How did that happen?
So I think it is both things. One is, for me, it was obviously in a big way the process was easier because I have an educational qualification backing it. So my learning of anything in the field of finance tends to be uh, shorter in many ways in terms of basic finance. However, at the end of the day, building trust is a process that takes time. So the first thing we started with, I recall, was basically a family budget.
Okay.
And first, I took control of the family budget. How much did we earn? What were our immediate requirements for the next 10 years? What were our immediate targets? What were our saving targets? What did we want to put away for charity? We did that for the initial 4 to 5 years while I was having kids, and I did not have time to devote to too many other subjects, but I did that well. And once we realized that I was comfortable doing that, that is when then I started investing what I was saving. See, one aspect that all women should very proudly say is that saving is also part of the process. It's also wealth generation,
Absolutely.
and in no matter what your education is, Indian women have always been in control of the kitchen
Yeah.
in most cases, and a lot of savings come from the kitchen, whether you put it in your rice box or your dal box or anywhere else. You know that if the tomatoes that if you were to buy from the wholesale shop will be cheaper, and thereby it will save you your vegetable budget, and that is saving that contributes to the wealth that you create at the end. That is one. Secondly, I think all women, no matter your educational qualification, should make it a point to educate themselves on the basics of finance. There are some very big words, but at the heart of some of these big words are just common sense. Common sense that you can even ask your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunt, your uncle, your father. Everybody will be willing to talk to you about it if only you ask the questions and you are willing to ask and keep asking till you have understood some basics. So, budgeting, expenses, savings, those three are basic things, and you have to make the effort to understand how to do that, is what I believe. That is the first step, and then comes the next steps.
So what it basically saying is that, in a nutshell, uh, what every woman, I think, especially in India, pretty much does on a daily basis is actually the foundation for financial education in itself. But the realization
Yes.
that you are already a part of that financial process is also very important. Like you also
Yes.
started where every woman, okay, who thinks herself financially illiterate or financially weak probably does. So all of us start there, but it is what we do from there that differentiates our future, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now it is one in many ways important, but also easy to expand on that knowledge. Another thing that I believe is that people are also more willing to talk to their daughters about money today. In the initial generation, my father it was never a conversation in the house. As long as there was comfortable food, money and food on the table, you did not ask questions about money.
Yeah.
You did not ask questions about investments. You did not ask questions about savings. But what happened was I did not get working knowledge of all of that in my teenage years, which could have helped me in when I started earning money. Hence, my learning curve was very steep and very strong. And honestly, I lost the money actually that I earned in Ernst and Young. Ultimately, I lost it on a bad real estate investment, which I never should have made, because at that time the main thing that parents used to say was, firstly, don't invest. You decide where you want to get married, and then you invest for your husband, or okay, you invest in real estate. एक
Buy
घर
a
ले
house, the ultimate
Yes,
security, a house of your own.
ultimate security is buy a house. And I bought that house, and the builder went bankrupt in 2008, and there went my money. Very, very hard earned money. So I think, would I have taken that decision today? I would never have taken that decision today. I would give very different advice to young girls who are working today. And that, I think, is, I guess, hindsight and wisdom. And hopefully, I can help somebody else.
So, Purnima, if you had to tell the young girls, three things that they could learn from everything that you've said, okay, three pieces of advice that you would give anyone, what would it be when it comes to money and savings?
Um, the most important advice that I would give to any young girl today is that by the age of 22, 23, when you finish your graduation or your post graduation, whatever is your benchmark, you have to keep in mind that your earnings have to be greater than or equal to your expenditure.
Mm.
If that is not there, then either you have to reduce your expenses, don't buy that Starbucks, stay off Nika for a couple of months, etc. Or and you have to find a way in which you will be able to increase your earnings.
Right.
Increase your earnings by upskilling yourself, working hard for that promotion, and doing whatever else you think you need to do to ensure that your earning level comes up. I think that is something I would say, and that you should do before you decide to get married, so that you understand what is your level of lifestyle that you want in life and how you can sustain it. Once you have that basic understanding, you go into a relationship with that understanding, and things, money conversations become a lot easier. So that is the first thing I would tell any young girl. Second, I would definitely tell her that please educate yourself. There are lots of resources available now on the internet. Educate yourself on the basics of budgeting. What should be your expenditures? What should be your savings? It is never too early to start savings. In fact, the earlier you start saving, the better it is, because it allows you the room to make mistakes. It is your money to lose because you have earned it. So even if you make mistakes in your investments, it's fine, you can recoup it. There is nobody depending on, hopefully, your financial returns at that stage. Or
Right.
it is money that you can just have fun with. So last but not the least, take professional advice for investments wherever you can. Let the professionals guide you. Let them help you in the initial days, well in time, so that the money that you earn in the initial years, where you have no obligations and no responsibilities, actually is useful for you when you later days, when you maybe want to take a break, maybe want to help your parents, maybe want you to help a sibling, or maybe just take a holiday.
Yeah.
But money is empowering because it gives you the ability to do all of that.
Great. So thank you so much, Purnima, for your interesting inputs and extremely relevant advice. The Filipino advocate for investment, Ava Laraya, says that you invest for a day when you don't have to work, right? And that's the intention that, I think that's why I started Sridhan, because too many women who are working are not thinking about their own retirement. when they are working, when they give up their jobs or their careers, the focus is never on, a woman wanting to have something when she retires, right? And it's not for lack of talent or ability. I think the lacking is really awareness and education. And if we can do our bit, I'm sure we can help a lot more women, have the kind of future and the kind of life that they had perhaps dreamt of but not thought of as a reality. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. And please do continue to support Sridhan.
Thank you, Aarti, and this is such an amazing initiative, and I hope it goes long ways because all of us need a change in mindset about our own finances.
Thank you so much, Purnima. And thank you to everyone who was watching this interview. Looking forward to your comments and your feedback as always. Thank you.